That means we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode, a manga-themed episode here at Omnibroslive, the Omnibus Collectors Network, all that fun stuff. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. As always, I am Gio, happy to be here and happy to talk all things manga with you guys. Of course, let me remind you of our wonderful sponsor right away that's making this episode possible. And that is InStockTrades.com, where you can get your collected editions and manga up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts tack on an extra 2% to that. And if you order $50 or more in your collected editions order, you get free shipping. How about that, folks? Fantastic customer service and wonderful packaging that you can only get when you visit InStockTrades.com. So, welcome, everybody. Happy to be here with you guys. I see some chat regulars already popping in. Jesse is one awesome dude. He was already tuning in when I set the stream up hours ago, which is awesome. Thank you so much, man. Travis just woke up from a nap, ready to rock and roll. Man, I mean, I was sitting in bed just watching something before I was getting ready to do this stream. And I lifted up my arm, and I'm like, oh, why does it hurt? I haven't done anything special today. I don't know. Man, it's hot outside. Today was, actually, I'm going to check real time with you guys. Today was around, over here, it was around 83 to 85 degrees. So, yeah, it was pretty hot. Joe, thank you. Everybody's just tuning in. That is awesome. Thank you so much. I think the last two times I saw you solo, it was the last minute of the stream. It's all right, man. I'm just happy that you could tune in and watch me do my thing here. I will be joined by an Omnibro in a couple more minutes. So I'm stalling. That's what the kids call stalling in the business. But today we're going to be talking about the manga Jujutsu Kaisen. I decided to make a review episode for this week's Otaku Bros themed episode of Omnibroslive. And it's very interesting that I happen to be joined by this wonderful gentleman, the Omnibus collector himself, Ryley Moore. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Coming at you from a cell phone because the Wi-Fi went out in the house right on time.
I feel you, man. I know how that feels. That happens to me all the freaking time.
So what's good? What's going on?
I was just talking about our wonderful sponsor, and I was waiting for you to get on so we could talk about the manga that I chose to review, which was Jujutsu Kaisen. I read the first 2 volumes, so I wanted to chat with you. We were supposed to have a third member here, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. But I will save that surprise for the next installment because I got a little rain check from him.
Nice.
So with that said, Inward is here. Larry, Kenneth is here. Canadian Invincible Comics, Tyler. Hey, Gio, I checked Paprika based on your recommendation last week, and I freaking loved it. Yeah, nice. All right, good job. I'm proud of you, son. Otaku Bros are my favorite bros. Hell yeah, son. Thank you. Matt, thank you for joining, Matt. Oh, here's a message for you, Ryley. Joey Wheeler, the best duelist of all time. Fight me.
Coincidentally, the exact words that I say at the beginning of my Gospel of Joey video. I don't know if you're behind me while I'm editing today or something, but literally what I say at the beginning of that video.
Could be. N-Man, are you going to be talking spoilers? No. Maybe at the end or something, because we just want to keep it to the first couple volumes. So more people can hopefully be interested in picking up the book because it is available, on In-Stock Trades. So hopefully we can entice the audience to pick up this series without spoiling too much, just going over like first impressions because the series is ongoing. So we don't really know how it's going to end. We can tell you a little bit about it. And here we go. Travis, I bought my first Ghibli steelbook. Yeah, welcome to the abyss, my friend. You are going to be loving purchasing steelbooks and Blu-rays from now on. Welcome to the club. Canadian Invincible Comics. I'm always watching, Ryley.
Well, now I feel like that's true.
Oh, and here's another compliment for you. Thanks, Ryley, for Silver Spoon. I'm on volume 11 and loving it.
Awesome. Last volume should be pretty soon now.
Mm-hmm. So, with that said, how about we talk a little bit about Jujutsu Kaisen? This is written by, and I think I'm saying this right, Gege Akutami.
A very different name. You don't see that Gege as a name too often. I don't know if it's a pseudonym or a nickname or something.
Yeah. So this originally came out in 2018. It is described as an adventure, dark fantasy, supernatural series published by Viz Media and Shonen Jump. And of course, you can get this book at Instar Trades. What can we say a little bit about the plot of Jujutsu Kaisen for those watching?
Well, very typical for shonen. You get a teenage protagonist kind of thrown into a situation, kind of fish out of water type thing. And it's been a minute since I read the first one, so I'm trying to remember exactly what happens at the beginning. But it reminded me a lot from the beginning of kind of a Bleach with a mixture of other series that have kind of that supernatural tone to them, because it deals a lot with like demons and spirits and stuff like that. And very soon after we're introduced to the main character, we get introduced to a school, a high school for people who are inclined with the supernatural arts and stuff like that. So it does fall into that. If you enjoy stuff like Bleach or maybe Yu Yu Hakusho, or what are some other good examples of manga like that?
What was the one with the kid that had the spirit wolf and he was protecting the school? I forgot the name of that series. It reminded me of that because there were shikigamis involved and there was this girl. Oh man. Sorry, freezed out for a minute.
I didn't know that was me or you.
Let me check this freaking series out because I can't remember the name. Anime.
For some reason I keep wanting to say about like Muyo and Roji, which I know you brought up.
Is that the one with the detectives?
Yeah, because that one also has to do. That one's the Muyo and Roji's Bureau of Supernatural Investigation, because they deal with a lot of like different supernatural demons and spirits and stuff like that. So stuff like that, but it's got a lot more of a serious tone to it than that does, and that's where I think it falls more into the camp of if you enjoyed shonen titles like Bleach or Yu Yu Hakusho, then this is the type of thing that you'd want to check out.
Kikaishi, that's the manga I was referring to.
Oh, I've never read that one, but I remember it. Isn't the name like Yellow Tanabe or something of the creator?
Yellow Tanabe.
I don't know why I remember the name of the creator for a series I never read, but yeah.
Gege and now Yellow. These names are weird, man. But yeah, it has sort of that vibe going for it. Plus, it's school elements. The main character, I have my tablet here because I can't remember the names. Yuji Itadori. When we first meet him, he is unusually athletic for his age and size, and he starts out with the occult club at his school. And if I remember correctly, he wanted to do that because he wanted some free time after school, and they would leave like at 5 or 6 or something like that. Not a lot of physical activity. And the occult club wants to try and do like uh, unveil what would later be called a talisman or a sacred or a cursed item, and uh, Itadori's grandfather, which I think is the best part of the manga for me on a personal level. His grandfather gives him two pieces of advice, which I liked that scene a whole lot. Basically, he tells him to, no matter the circumstances or where he may be in life, to always help people and make sure to help others in their time of need. And he also tells him that when his time comes, because his grandfather is on his deathbed, when his time comes, make sure to die surrounded by people or friends and family and all that stuff. So he sort of takes the two and forms sort of his own little creed, which is essential, I think, for a Shonen Jump protagonist or a main character. And he sets out to essentially protect people from evil spirits and all that stuff. He then meets the second character, which I forgot his name, is Megumi Fushiguro. And he's the one that basically does the exposition. Like, there are these talisman artifacts that you mentioned, and the occult club has a very strong one, which is a mummified corpse finger from this ancient curse demon, basically, because the curses are sort of creatures, and you can correct me on this, creatures that are formed from the negative energy in a building, or specifically in the first book, they mention a school or a hospital, where this negative emotion can bubble up and create sort of these creatures and demonic uh, entities. And they're looking for that finger. Obviously, the occult club, they don't know if it's going to work or not, but they want to do a sort of ritual or something to open it or whatever. And that sort of kicks the plot in, where you get all the monsters introduced and the fighting, and it goes, like you mentioned, with that Bleach attitude. And at some point, it kind of reminded me, and hardcore Jujutsu fans are probably going to be pissed at me, because when I was reading it, I thought, man, this is the bizarre twin of Bleach and Naruto combined. Because I saw a lot of elements of Naruto, especially with the three-man squad and having a team leader. And, like Bleach, they're going to a school to learn stuff and how to fight and all the techniques involved and curses. I don't know. It was a very interesting mashup of the two for me.
Yeah, it's definitely something that it's very reminiscent of things that we've seen before, but at the same time is interesting enough in its own right to where I continue to want to see more from it. And I think that it's one that definitely deserves attention. And fortunately, we have an anime that's coming soon, right?
Next winter should be coming out.
So winter 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I thought it was a lot closer.
Let me check.
But either way, it's, giving that far off gives plenty of time for more material to be released in the US. And I've heard a lot of people, because I've only read the first 3 volumes. I think the 4th one might be on the way or something, but it's definitely something that I've really enjoyed reading every passing volume. And I can't wait for it to do what a bunch of shonen series often do, where like they'll have a kind of arc of a bunch of exposition where they explain the world and the characters, and then after that initial story, the series opens up into something even greater. Like with Bleach, the first story arc, when they're in Karakura Town, for instance, is kind of just introducing the ideas of what's going on in this world. And then once they introduce Soul Society and you go forward into Soul Society, that's where it really opens up and shows you so much more. And I'd say the same thing is true for Naruto when it goes from the early expositionary arcs into the exam arc, because then you start learning about different types of jutsu and different characters, and then eventually you learn about the different villages and stuff like that, and it just blows wide open to something bigger. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that is for this series, because you can feel it coming.
The anime is not coming in January. It's coming out October 2020. So a couple more months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's done by Mappa Studios, which did and I'm going to reference Joe Chip here. Mappa did Dorohedoro, so kind of weaves in and out my references. But yeah,
Dorohedoro.
Dorohedoro. It should be in good hands because I'm a big fan of that anime studio. But I would say, and N-Man brings a good point. I know Jujutsu Kaisen had a lot of hype in January, February here in the US, but then things went silent, at least on YouTube. I don't know if it's bad or not. I just think since it's a new series and a lot of people are playing catch up, especially here in America, uh, they're still finding out about the series. And I want to believe with the anime and all that stuff, the hype will rise again, and we'll see more people interested in the series because there is a lot to like in it, I think.
Yeah, I think that it's also a matter of oftentimes a lot of the hype for something is based on a certain aspect. Like there was a lot of hype for this with the first volume coming out because it's a new series, it's a new first volume. And then after that first volume comes out, the hype's going to die down until something else big happens. So look, for instance, at Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer's first volume came out and people were super pumped about it. But after that first volume, the amount of hype for the series dove until the anime came out, which was probably when they had 5 or 6 volumes in the US already. And then it just skyrocketed in attention. So I think that depending on how well the studio does with the anime and how quickly the anime gets its footing and gets its fans, we could see definitely a lot more hype happening around Jujutsu Kaisen. And I'm hoping that it does. And it follows suit like things like Demon Slayer or even like Mappa's previous work with Dorohedoro. That series had a pretty decent amount of attention after the anime started. People became more interested in it. And while people were already interested in the manga, it kind of rekindled that a little bit more. So I do think that we'll see more hype for Jujutsu Kaisen in the coming months.
Yeah. I do think maybe volume 1 of the manga, it doesn't end as strong as other Shonen Jump series. It wasn't until I started reading volume 2 where I felt like I really got into what I was reading. I don't know if that happened to you. Because
yeah, kind of. Yeah,
it ends on a kind of a soft cliffhanger, and you're interested in to see what's happening. But at the same time, I'm like, it's all right. But it wasn't until I started reading volume 2 where I'm like, okay, I'm liking this a lot more. I do like the monster designs. They're really cool. They reminded me of like early hollows from Bleach, and it sort of has that spunky energy, which I think will gravitate towards Battle Shonen fans. And the characters are pretty interesting. I don't necessarily like, or I don't get yet the technical aspects of their combat system with the inversions and gravity walls and the conversion between magic, because they're using magic with curses. And I don't know, it's very punkish in attitude and very stylized compared to Naruto, or hell, even Hunter x Hunter or something like that. So that was an aspect of the manga that I didn't quite get at first and didn't like. But overall, I thought it was a great series. I'm on board, and I'm gonna continue reading the series after we're done here. So
I think it's one that kind of throws you in once like you start getting introduced to more than just like the kind of normal world. When you get into the special school and start meeting different characters, it just kind of tosses you in there. And that's, it can be detracting, but it ultimately I think winds up working out well, and it has caught my attention to the point that I'm really happy to pick up each volume and start reading each volume when they come. So yeah, I've been really anticipating with all these delays and stuff. I've been sitting here just, it's definitely at the top of my list as soon as it comes in to jump in on volume 4, I guess.
Did we talk about the bad guy of the series? Did we mention him?
Mm-mm.
Because I do want to talk a little bit about it. I can't remember the dude's name. Basically, the fingers relate to this ancient evil, and he had 4 arms. So there's what, 20 fingers? And when you consume our main protagonist, he doesn't have any supernatural abilities. So when he realizes that, crap, I really need to save my friends, so he swallows one of the fingers and gains the abilities to be on par, I guess. And later on, I'm not going to spoil everything, but he's informed that that finger belongs to this ancient creature, curse thing, super evil bad guy. And if the good guys are going after all those fingers so they can exercise them and get rid of the threat. Sakuna is his name. I can't remember right now, but the thing is, they get the 20. If they get the 20 fingers, they can do that. And now that he's done that, they have to execute him. But the good guys are like, no, we can probably use him because he has special abilities and deal with that later. So in comes all the tropes about training and entering this new world. And I like that the school that he's going to is right there amidst everything. So it's not like a hidden village or an alternate plane of existence. It's just right there in Japan. So now he's sort of unveiling like the truth behind the truth of it all, and meeting all these other characters. I did like the secondary character, Megumi Fushiguro, because he uses the Shikigami, which made me think of Kakaishi, or whatever the name of that series was, and how he's using all these talisman animals to fight and all that stuff, which I thought was really cool.
I feel like also it's kind of a successful version of Black Torch in a way. That series that it only had 5 volumes before it was canceled, and it had really beautiful artwork and was really awesome. And I don't want to say they're exactly the same, but there's some similarities in like the energy and the style of some of the characters and stuff that I feel like carries over with Jujutsu Kaisen. And there's really no connection between the two other than the fact that they are both recent Shonen Jump series. But I think when I first started reading the first volume, and I mentioned it in one of our chats, someone, maybe Adonis, was the one that said, like, it kind of sounds like Black Torch, but not that did not get canceled, basically.
Yeah. I do remember you were talking about it. I haven't read Black Torch yet, but there's a style to it, too. It kind of is in that vibe. Speaking of vibe, what do you think about the art for Jujutsu?
The art, what initially brought me in, the art on the cover for that first one. Just looking at the first volume, I had no idea anything about what it was, but let me grab.
Yeah, because this glare is insane.
To find it in my. There we go. So just the art on the first volume's cover, and I have some glare on mine as well, reminded me of Bleach, if I'm being honest. I had no idea what was going on. I saw this dude that kind of looked like Ichigo with pink hair.
Yeah.
I liked the style of the lettering. It had that kind of spooky, for lack of better words, spooky notes to that. And then the mouth on the hand. So that's what drew me, was the artwork. And it's definitely, the interior artwork does not disappoint either.
Yeah. I think I really like the character designs, the monsters and everything. And one of the things that really complements the story is that art and how fluid it is. It's a Shonen Jump series where I can actually follow the fights and know what's happening at all times. It's very clean and straight to the point, but it has a unique style to it, which I like. So I thought that was great because unlike, and I'm going to say it, unlike stuff like My Hero Academia, where sometimes I don't understand what the hell's going on in the fights, this you can easily follow. Let me highlight you.
Just a good example of some of the character designs and stuff on there. But yeah, My Hero Academia was one that I was thinking of as well as something that it's just really frenetic, I guess.
It's all over the place sometimes.
And he's gotten better over time with his artwork, without a doubt. But this one, it starts out very, like you said, easy to follow. And if that's showing us anything, it's going to get better from there.
Mm-hmm. I did like, what was the other guy's name? Their mentor.
It's a nice action.
Oh, let me highlight that. That looks awesome. Yeah, I like that. And that monster. It reminded me of
a hollow.
A hollow mixed with Abe Sapien for some reason.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one definitely Abe Sapien. The other one from earlier in the book, if I can find it, this one reminds me more of a hollow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Bleach.
Yeah. We don't see this is a mild spoiler, but we don't see the school students anymore, right? After that, the original school students from the occult club.
No.
There was no goodbye or anything. It's just like, oh, well, now you're leaving to this new school. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, I do remember that and thinking that was kind of sudden. Like, they're just, all right, well, now you're over here. And I was like, whoa,
yeah,
that was really quick. So I don't know if maybe the series will go back to them later and maybe have him try to protect them later on. Yeah. Of course, there's a lot of material out that we have not read because I've only read the first 3. You've read the first 2. There's probably closer to 10 volumes out in Japan, something like that.
11 volumes.
Yeah, so rough guess, got pretty close.
Yeah, but we're gonna catch up pretty quickly because volume 11 came out June of this year, last month, and so we're already there. We just need a couple more months and we'll be caught up. We're on volume 5, and Inward said volume 4 did come out in June, by the way. So yeah, we're catching.
But I don't have volume 4 because of all the delays that we've been experiencing. So.
I told you on our chat, all the stuff that was delayed from Right Stuff, it finally shipped, but I'm still waiting for it because the mail is all clogged up. And it's all the media mail stuff is crazy. So I don't even know where it is. It used to say in transit, expected delivery. Now it just says in transit. It'll get there when it gets there. I'm like, okay.
I have all of my May stuff should be sometime next week. And then all of my June stuff hasn't shipped, but it's all like ready to go basically. And then I don't know if maybe they're waiting on packing some July stuff with it, but it's good to just see that everything's finally catching up.
Mm-hmm. I did make a pretty big order recently, so I'm excited about that. Here's a question from N-Man. Ryley, I know you have all the Blade of the Immortal Omnis. I do as well, but will you be upgrading to the deluxe editions? The Omnis are so nice. If there had been a 10-year gap or so, I might have bought the deluxe editions. I will stick with the Omnis.
As far as these guys, I still haven't read the series, so my plan is I want to read these books and make the judgment for myself. If I can afford to do that, and B, if I actually enjoy the series enough to want to do that.
Okay.
Because those are already really nice books as is.
Yeah. I want to try and sell some books that I know I'm not going to read anytime soon again, and Omnis and all that stuff. So if I do that and make some space, I'll try and get into the Blade of the Immortal Omnis. Which reminds me, did you see this question I wanted to talk about on the show? I'm glad somebody brought it up, and now I can't find it. It's about Helsing, the Ultimate. I can't find it, but essentially the Helsing deluxe editions have been delayed. Is that true? Because I thought they were coming out; they were still on schedule. But
I
some
thought they
people are.
were too.
Let me check on the Right Stuff website.
I haven't gotten an email from Right Stuff about that, and usually they are pretty good about emailing about delays on release.
Oh, I see what's happening. I think there are different dates because Right Stuff has it for July 14th. And if I go to the previous page from the comic book shops, it says Helsing. Let's see. Helsing Volume 1. No, it's still on schedule, July 15th. I don't know. I did see some people in the Omnibus group sad that it got delayed. I'm like, it still says it's coming out. I don't know what the deal is.
I don't know.
Yeah. We got an out-of-topic question, but we'll answer it anyways. Kenneth, guys, thoughts on DC making Superman Man of Steel by John Byrne Volume 1 originally going to be an omnibus release, now a standard size hardcover release? Dude, I'll be honest with you. I know it's the unpopular answer. I'm not the popular one here, but if you really want that series with modern pages and whatever, and you want to support it, get it regardless, because I'll take what I can get. I'm not gonna be picky about that stuff. I know oversized is better, omnibus, all that stuff, but if that's the release date, I'd rather have it and not own anything.
See, I don't know the smarter move as far as like, do you buy it and show them that people like this, and then maybe if it gets enough sales, then they'll release the originally planned omnibus, maybe 1 or 2 volumes, whatever it takes. Or if you don't buy it and people, boycott, just to put a word on it, if people boycott this volume and it gets very low sales, will that give them the idea that
it's not selling, so we cancel it?
Yeah, like are they gonna just be like, oh well, this isn't selling, so we're not gonna do a further volume of it, and we definitely won't do an omnibus release? Or will it be like clear to them that, oh, people wanted the actual omnibus, but they don't want this? So it's really difficult. They say you have to speak with your money, but it's really hard to do that because we're not made of money. No one has unlimited funds on this stuff, and so if you're trying to speak with your money, what do you say? Do you say I don't want this, but risk also saying I just don't want Superman Man of Steel? Or do you risk buying it, spending the money, and then eventually they do solicit the better collection just for you to be stuck with something that you'll have to, if you want to upgrade, you'll probably sell for less than you bought it for? So it's really messy. I wish they would have stuck to the original plan. And I'll say I wish what they did was basically follow the example of what they did with the George Perez Wonder Woman. They released the Omnis, and then they released paperback editions later. I wish they did that, and they could have done thicker, more well put together paperbacks, because the old paperbacks, I had volume 1, just fell apart in my hands. So I guess that's what I wish they would have done.
Yeah, I think my prediction, the normal market of people going into a comic book shop, they'll probably buy it. I think it's not going to do so hot with the collected editions community, but hopefully it does sell enough that they'll keep wanting to put more out and buy it. And if they do an omnibus, sell it and get the omnibus later on. Here's another question. What are your opinions on Joji Manabe's Outlanders? I have no idea what that is. I apologize.
I'm unaware. Usually I use my phone to look up stuff like that, but
let me check.
I'm on my phone right now, so
yeah. Outlanders. Oh, I've seen this before, but I've never read it. I'm sorry. This is a very older looking manga, but I've seen this image before. This was from 85 through 87, 1987. Wow. It ran for 8 volumes. Okay. Space opera, science fantasy, and fan service. All right. Sign me up. Sorry, Lars. I haven't checked it out. You could ask Omar.
That's an Omar thing.
Yeah.
Did it have a Western release? Like maybe if it was back in the early 90s, maybe one of those Viz did those.
Dark Horse released it.
Okay. Did they release the whole thing?
Let me check. Production. It doesn't really say, but it was only 8 volumes. And it did have an OVA back in the day. You might have better luck asking Omar, because that's his ballpark with the older manga. I'm not saying he's old.
Yeah.
He does like older manga, so you can put 2 and 2 together. All right. I have it, but what about that Akira box set re-release? It's already in stock, but I believe it's only coming out on Right Stuff because the comic book shops aren't getting it. Or at least that's what I read online, and you can only buy it from the website, from Right Stuff Anime. So I don't know. If you want it, you better grab it, because that's going to sell out as well, because you only have just one seller. So it's going to sell out.
I know they've already started shipping it out, though.
Yeah.
A few people have mentioned that they had their confirmations.
And man, but Gio, the people that never bought the trade paperbacks of the John Byrne run will probably get the hardcover. Yeah, I mean, if that happened with the Peter David Aquaman omnibus, and it gets announced and then gets downgraded to standard hardcover, I'll still pick it up because it's my favorite DC superhero and I want to support it. But yeah. Did you guys see that volume 0 of Jujutsu got licensed? Make sure to read that whenever it drops. It is very critical to the overall plot. I might have missed if you guys mentioned it. We haven't. It got announced this week that I made the post on the farm of all the acquisitions, because they announced them at the virtual edition of Anime Expo over at Twitch, and Viz just went crazy.
There was like a volume 0 for Demon Slayer too, right?
I don't remember. I need to check.
I think there was something, and then I know that they licensed the Byakuya spinoff for Dr. Stone.
Yeah, I saw that.
And a lot of other stuff.
They revealed the Byakuya, Dr. Stone, a new Junji Ito collection, the Lovesick stuff that hasn't been collected over here. They're doing...
There was another Urasawa book, wasn't there?
Yeah. What's the girl's name? Starts with A, but it comes out next year. There's an Urasawa book. Yeah, and obviously Jujutsu Kaisen. I'll probably check it out. Let's see. Knowing DC, you can't really hold out for the Omni. I always assume the worst is going to happen, so it doesn't surprise me. I'll just ignore them.
Well, they already announced and canceled it, so
you can only do so much afterwards. I mean, what can we do but complain? If it comes out, well, yay. But if it doesn't, oh, whatever. What's the word that you guys like to use? I'm somewhat optimistic about DC. I'm
cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic. That's the word. I never use that, but for DC Comics, yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like with my DC stuff, I'm probably going to wind up switching to either omnibus or digital and like nothing in between, because how often they wind up dropping lines and changing things, and just it's hard to keep up with that stuff. And I feel like, for something like, Peter David's Aquaman, where they canceled the third paperback, something like that, it's really distressing. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't really decided yet, but I might have to go that route with my DC stuff.
And man, I commented at the end of your Seven Seas video the other day, what is going on with Gunslinger Girl? Don't hate me, Ant-Man, but I totally forgot what you were asking that day. So if you could please ask the full question again, because I've got so much going on in my head, I can't remember. What was the thing that was happening with Gunslinger Girl? Here we go. It seems Yen Press and some other manga companies are reprinting material. Dark Horse is reprinting some BPRD material. Cool. Lars, man, you can ask us whatever you want. We still got a couple more minutes with you guys. Have you read Jiro Taniguchi? Have you read some Jiro books?
I've read the Walking Man.
Oh, yeah, you showed me that one.
It's literally one of the most calming books I've ever read.
Nice.
Very nice artwork, very relaxing. I remember it just making me feel more at peace after reading this book. It's essentially just a collection of short stories, for anyone not aware, about a man who's walking through his neighborhood and sees pretty mundane things, and it's just his observations about his walks and the things that he sees. It's nothing, that's going to be groundbreaking or anything, but it's just a great testament to how simple of a concept can make you feel something so positively. It definitely made me want to read more of Taniguchi's work, though. I just haven't had the chance to pick anything up.
Yeah. So here is the question from N-Man. Is Gunslinger Girl coming back in print? I haven't heard anything. I do know they released the Omnibus collections. I think there were 2 in 1. And I think some of those are harder to find than others. But I haven't read anything. They haven't sent any info my way, because they usually contact me via email with press releases and all that stuff. But I haven't heard anything yet. I do like the anime, though. I watched it years ago. Here's one for you, because I do know you've read it. Anybody get down on Ajin? Is it worth buying into?
I really, really enjoy the series, but the thing that I always tell people to consider is, as good as it is, as great as the art is, as intriguing as the story is, and as fun as it is to read, every volume is like, I forget what the price is. Like, hold on, let me check real quick. They're small volumes and they're more expensive volumes. They are $13 each, and they usually take me 30 minutes or less to read a single volume. So I tell people, to kind of go in knowing at this point 14 volumes, even if you get it at a discount, you're going to look at spending about $100. And it's just, is it worth it to you to invest in a series that reads that quickly? That's the main thing. So I would suggest maybe reading a little bit online, maybe watching the anime, see how you feel about that. And if you are interested enough that you think that it's worth the investment, then go forward. But I always want to warn, because it's such a fast read. Like, literally you're done with a book before you know it.
Or if you see a good sale on the books, like a bundle, and find it that it's worth the price for how many books you're getting, sorry, go for that. The anime is streaming on Netflix, right?
Yeah, I think
it's
it was a Netflix original series in the US.
There you go. I didn't like the animation style, so I haven't watched it. I do know what the series is about, and it sounds interesting, but animation is not for me.
I think I tried to watch the first episode and I stopped because it was after I had already read the manga, and the anime starts kind of differently, and I don't know if it's just it follows a different plot or something, but I never continued watching it. But I would imagine that it would give you a good gauge on whether or not you might be interested. But honestly, I don't see how they can make, like, if I'm reading each volume in 30 minutes and there's only 14 volumes and we're caught up with Japan at this point, how do you make a full, like, 2 seasons of anime off of that material? It just seems like they're gonna have to put a lot of filler and fluff in there. I don't know.
Here is another question. Anybody get down? No, I've already read that. I'm sorry. I'm losing it. I'm old. One of the best books ever is Zen. I have not checked out Zen. I also know I ordered some expensive volumes of Soul Eater from in-stock trades, and then magically they are being reprinted. Isn't Volume 1 coming out at the end of this month, the deluxe edition, or maybe next month? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's due out this month.
Are you upgrading to that or not yet?
Yeah, and I've got the I've been trying to sell the first like 12 or 13 volumes, however many I have. Haven't had any biters yet, so but they're in my sell closet.
So if anybody's interested in Soul Eater,
let us know.
Let us know. Go to the Omnibus Collectors Network and then join the farm, and you can buy Soul Eater at a good price, because you always price things fairly.
At least half off. Half off.
Yen Press is not known for reprints. Dude, I emailed Yen Press for was it Yen Press that did Lucifer? Yen Press.
I think that was
7 Seas.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that was 7 Seas.
Oh well, never mind. But yeah, Yen Press doesn't do reprints. And what I was gonna say was Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. I got in contact with 7 Seas, and they're like, "Nope, we don't. We're not going to reprint that. It's already sold out." So there was an offer, and I believe Travis hooked me up, but I couldn't get to it in time. Somebody was offering. It was still over cover price because the book's like $20. He was offering like 50, and he would come down from that. I'm like, let me think about it, and then somebody bought it. But I really do want to own Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer because I loved Spirit Circle so much, and I'm a fan of the mangaka. Lars, I'm an idiot. Zen as in Buddhism. Gotcha. I thought there was a manga just called Zen. I'm like, I haven't heard that. Yeah. Kristan said the FMA hardcovers are mousetraps and they don't stay open. Is that true? Do you have one of those? Getting a live demo.
I mean, pretty much.
Oh boy.
But I'm not offended by trappediness when it comes to a hardcover as small as this. If it's something like Hawkman Omnibus, just for instance, where that won't stay open, that's painful. Because at least, like, with manga, I'm usually reading it like this anyway. I'm not reading it on the table. I'm holding it up, reading it.
Yeah.
So it's not, that doesn't bother me too much.
Got a question from Larry. Geo, how is Ran and the Grey World coming along? I'm on the fence and anxiously await your review. I'm going to try and put out that review next week. I'm going to try and do that. But I had already read a couple volumes in, and I do like the series. There's an issue that I'll address in the video that a lot of people aren't as comfortable with. I didn't mind for reasons I'm going to explain later on because I don't want to talk about it here. But I like the series. I've read half the series. I dig it a lot. But just hold out for a little bit while longer so I can form a full opinion. Sorry, on the series.
I still need to read that too.
Lucifer books were attainable back in fall 2019. Man, why didn't you tell me this? Because now everybody's asking like, oh, $70, $100. I'm like, get out of here! I'm not gonna spend $70 on a manga volume. No. Unless they make it into an anime, then I'm game because I don't have to get the manga. I can just watch the show and save myself some money. But I really do want to read it, and I very rarely go for digital. For Jujutsu, I make the exception because I don't have the books with me, and I wanted to check the series out. So you can read it at the Manga Plus app legally, and the Shonen Jump app as well from Viz. For $2, you can read everything, which is insane. But yeah, Kenneth, thank you, buddy, for tuning in. Pass. Omnibus Collector, what do you think of Epic Collections?
I don't mean this offensively, but I think that they're wonderful gap-filling collections. By what I mean by that is, if there's material that's not, let me just show my.
Okay.
So for my Spider-Man collection, by the way, or for instance, there's solid. There'll be probably 2 more Omnis right here before Roger Stern, and then there's material that I have in paperback and Epic collection around the other Omnis, and I don't mind having them to kind of fill that material in as there's not an omnibus. And with Spider-Man, that's a series that I feel like eventually we could count on there being Omnis collecting pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And I've done the same with Iron Man. So everything that they have available to fill in the gaps between the old original Michelini, Layton, Romita Jr., and then going all the way through to more the end of that first volume. These books are there to kind of fill that gap in the event that there's not an omnibus, or until they do release an omnibus. And once they do release an omnibus, then I release those books into the wild. But that's
them free.
Yeah, I don't want to, because I know like Curtis from the Epic Marvel podcast, that's his preferred line of books, and he doesn't buy any omnis at all. He does not like oversized hardcovers. He doesn't like omnibus editions and stuff. And that's his thing. And honestly, Epics are probably the best way to go if you only want to collect one format. If you want to stick to one thing and you want to have the most content collected, then go for Epics, because there's more of a chance that you're going to get an entire run of a character across Epic collections than you are to get an entire run of a character across an omnibus format. The closest that we're getting is with the X-Men franchise, with the main X-Men titles. So that's my take on it. I prefer oversized hardcovers. Obviously, that's why I chose my name and my YouTube channel to be the Omnibus Collector.
Mm-hmm.
But in the case that something does not exist in an oversized hardcover, I'm not going to just ignore it because of my format preference. So
yeah. I like this. Oh my God, gap filling. Ryley, not all runs I don't think will be an omnibus form. Maybe when we're 110 years old.
Well, not officially at least, but everyone knows that there are custom books out there, and I've got a few of
Yeah.
them on my shelf over there that
Wink,
not
wink.
exactly legal, but you know, when we get to the point where I'm 50 years old and they still haven't filled certain gaps, I know where I'm going to go to.
Yeah. You'll be like Thanos. I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
Fine.
Custom omnibus.
Um, I like what you and Omar do. You collect all formats, except I collect Marvel Masterworks to fill gaps. Nice.
I can't do the masterworks. Like I appreciate them, and I appreciate people who collect them, because if it weren't for Masterworks and it weren't for the people that buy Masterworks, we would not have the library of other editions that we have, omnibus editions or epics for that matter, because the Masterworks runs are, there's so much work that goes into that, in, you know, into, what's the word I'm looking for, but working on that art and kind of recoloring and re-inking and all that stuff digitally to enhance the artwork and bring it into a modern collection, and then that winds up translating into what they use for the other formats as well. But I am so late into that game that it's impossible for me to collect the Masterworks. So for something like that gap in Spider-Man that I was showing off, there's no way that I'm going to buy volumes 15 through 21 of Amazing Spider-Man Masterworks, because I think some of them are already pretty hard to get. They're expensive already because they're at the least $50, but I think the median price at this point is $75, and they've even gone up to $100. And it's just too much. Like, I buy expensive books, but that's too expensive for me. But with that stuff, like that Spider-Man, those volumes are going to get omnibus 5 and 6, boom. There's no reason for me to, what I'm saying is, like, that gap with Spider-Man, there's no reason for me to buy those books, because the omnibus will happen. Spider-Man volumes 5 and 6, it's happening. I don't know, you know, how long it's going to take, probably the next 3 or 4 years, but they will come out. And that's going to completely bridge the gap through the Roger Stern omnibus. It's actually funny to talk about this because I have a video that I'm making about my top 10 most wanted Spider-Man omnis, and I talk about all the gaps and, like, how I would want to see them filled, what goes into what volumes, and what I think is actually going to happen. And that's one of the points that I make in there is Amazing Spider-Man volumes 5 and 6 are books that, without a doubt, they're going to happen. I would bet my life on it. It's going to happen.
There you go. We got time for one more question before we start wrapping up, because it's going to be an hour. This one comes from Lars. Sorry, another question. My favorite manga artist is Ryoichi Ikegami. And have you read Sanctuary, Strain, Mai the Psychic Girl, or Crying Freeman?
I've read Crying Freeman. I have a couple volumes of Mai the Psychic Girl.
Nice.
Crying Freeman was not entirely to my taste. I didn't like the protagonist. I thought that he was very unfaithful to his wife or lover or whatever, and it really bothered me. I like, parts of it were really cool, but then other parts I was like, I don't like that. But it, you know, it was worthwhile. It was worth reading. I haven't read Mai yet because I don't have volumes 1 or 3. And I also have all of Ikegami's Spider-Man manga.
Nice.
I just need to read that. So I haven't gotten around to it, but I'm really excited for that one.
Awesome. There you go. So to put an end cap on this stream, Jujutsu Kaisen, do you think it's a worthy recommendation for the people watching that they go to our sponsor's website and pick out the first volume? What do you think?
I would say grab maybe 2 or 3 of them, or there's only 3 available, but usually I give a manga 2 or 3 volumes, and I would say give this one 2 or 3 volumes yourself. if you're a fan of shonen books, if you're a fan of the stuff that we compared it to, like Bleach or Yu Yu Hakusho, you may well find yourself really enjoying this within the first couple volumes. So I'll say, yeah, check it out. What do you think?
Well said, sir. I do think Volume 1 is one huge exposition, and you get to the good stuff in Volume 2, but I would still recommend it if you want some spooky, supernatural action in your life. Do check it out. You can do so by visiting InStockTrades.com, where you can get your collected editions and manga up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts tack on an extra 2% to that. And if you order $50 or more in your collected editions, you get free shipping. Make your order, get Jujutsu Kaisen, and fill in that $50 mark with Jujutsu. How about that? Fantastic customer service and wonderful packaging that you can only get when you visit InStockTrades.com. With that, folks, we've come to the end of yet another Otaku Bros stream here at the Omnibus Collectors Network. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for all the wonderful questions, all the wonderful people in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, let me know. Let us know in the comment section what you thought of Jujutsu Kaisen. Try and keep it spoiler-free so we don't ruin the fun for other people. But let us know what you thought of the series. We're very interested in finding out. Ryley, where can people find you on the internet?
Find me here on YouTube at the Omnibus Collector. I've got my most recent video is a review of the original Yu-Gi-Oh manga, so anyone watching this stream might be interested in seeing that. And in that video, I tease my next video where I'm going to be talking about why Joey Wheeler is the greatest duelist in that series. And that'll be coming out hopefully tomorrow, maybe Saturday.
I forgot to highlight that post. Tyler got watched your Yu-Gi-Oh video and it made him pick up Volume 1. That's awesome to reread it.
Definitely, I love the beginning of the series, but definitely if you're at least intrigued by the beginning before it starts doing all the Duel Monsters stuff, check out the Duel Monsters stuff with the Duelist series. It's really great.
There you go, folks. As for me, you can check out my channel, A Week in Geekdom, where I talk about anime, comics, and manga. You can subscribe. It'll help out a ton. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back. Otaku Bros will be live 2 weeks from now talking August solicits as well as our hauls, previews, reads, all that stuff. It's like the Monday Omnibros, but with manga only. So we'll see you then. And for the rest of the stream, you can catch us Sunday for news with the Omnibros with Gabe, Lou, and Jess as they go over all the news and stuff. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. God bless. Stay safe out there. Good night, good morning, good wherever you may be. And we'll catch you on